All right, today I will be talking about the top 5 most overrated Jets going into 2022. Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about some players that I think both the Jets and Jet fans are overrating going into the year. Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention you can follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out the Just Jets podcast. And of course, you could check out the Patreon for bonus New York Jets content like the Exit 16 West show and player write-ups on Fridays and more fun stuff during the season. Okay, so before I run through this list, I just want to remind you that overrated doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means that it's in my opinion, a misinterpretation of what the talent or caliber of player they actually are. So it doesn't mean that I hate all these 5 guys on the list. I don't. I just think in some cases fans overrate these players. So first on my list, and this is in no particular order here. First on my list is Braden Mann, the punter. He was a draft pick in 2020. He made a couple open field tackles in 2020 and everyone fell in love with him. When he was hurt and when he's banged up, Thomas Morstead was like significantly better. Morstead was very good for this team. And then Mann got healthy and he came back and he was, I guess, fine. I would lean even more towards like mediocre. I don't think he's a top half of the league punter. I think he's, I don't know, maybe around like the 20th best punter, and you used a 6th round pick on him to be like, okay, that just is weird to me. It reminds me of what the Jets did with Lachlan Edwards. They spent a draft pick on Lachlan Edwards. He was here for 4 years, was okay, and then the Jets spent another 6th round pick on a guy who's probably going to be here for 4 years, and then maybe the cycle will happen again in a couple of years, and they'll draft somebody else. It's I don't get it. I didn't understand the pick at the time. He was fine as a rookie. I think he even made this list last year because. Again, I just think he's a little bit overhyped. Morstead, even though he's older, was the better punter, but because the Jets used a draft pick on Braden Mann, that's why he stuck around. So Mann is on our list. We also have Quincy Williams, who is a little bit of a controversial one. I feel like people either love him to death or they think he's a little bit overrated, which is what I'm at, or where I'm at, I guess. Missed tackles are the biggest issue that I have with Quincy Williams. Yes, he's extremely fun when he's on the field because he's running around like a maniac, hitting the crap out of people. And I like that aspect of it. And you see why it's fun and he's easy to root for. But the missed tackles, he missed 12.1% of his tackles last year. He popped off and looked great in Atlanta, Cincy, and Houston. Like those 3 games looked really, really good. But then there were some real clunkers in there. Both New England games, Indy, Buffalo, Philly, New Orleans. He missed 20% of his tackles or more in 4 games last year. So the Jets obviously think very highly of him because they didn't bring in another linebacker in free agency, at least not yet. And they didn't draft a linebacker with any of their picks. I just think it's risky. I think he's better in a rotation role. I don't trust him as a starter. And for that, I have him as a little bit overrated. But if he cuts down on those missed tackles and is a little bit more consistent, okay, maybe you could start to sell me on him being at least a good starter. I don't know if I'd go Pro Bowl level, but can he be a good starter? There's a chance. I just don't think he's there yet. Next up is Justin Hardy. He was brought in to be a special teams ace last year. They paid him relatively good money for someone who's pretty much strictly a special teamer. I didn't think he was that good. Like, spoiler, I didn't think he was that good last year. He had 5 penalties. That's a lot for someone who's just a special teamer. And he also had 5 missed tackles, which was the most of his career. Now, he came off a phenomenal 2020 season where he was with the Saints and obviously putting up really, really good numbers with the Saints as a guy who is strictly a special teamer. Tried to be brought in for that role with the Jets. And last year, I don't know. I just didn't think it went very well. Maybe I'm hoping that he bounces back, but it's very difficult to find a guy who's only a special teamer and give him a roster spot if he's not going to be an ace. Like, if you're Matthew Slater, it's a little bit of a different story, but Hardy is really not that at this point currently. At number 4, I'm going to go with Mike White, someone that for some reason there are still people in mentions and comment sections who's like, Mike White should be starting for this team, which is crazy to me. Since he was fun, the Cincinnati game was fun, but if you looked a little bit deeper into the numbers, you could see that it, one, wasn't going to be sustainable, and two, there were some cracks in the foundation. For instance, 4.2 yards of average depth per target. It was 4.2 yards, his average depth of target. So it was a lot of underneath stuff. When he had Elijah Moore wide open down the field, he couldn't hit him. The turnover-worthy plays are also an issue for him in the 4 games that he did play. It wasn't even 4 full games because he left with injury in Indianapolis. He came in during the New England game. So it really was, it's not even 4 full games, but he had 8 interceptions, 9 turnover-worthy plays. To put that in context, Zach Wilson had 18 turnover plays, which is a little bit high, but the turnover-worthy play percentage, so the number of, or the percentage of plays that obviously results in a turnover-worthy play, 3.8 to Mike White's 6.1. So Mike White almost doubled the amount of turnover-worthy plays comparatively to Zach Wilson. So thankfully, Mike White is not going to be starting for this team going forward. And the last guy on my list is someone who actually hasn't played yet in the NFL. So some people are going to say, well, how could you call him overrated if he hasn't played? And maybe overrated is the wrong word, but I think overhyped is appropriate to describe Michael Clemons, because there's a very strong and vocal portion of Jet fans who love this guy. And I think there's a chance that he could be like, I don't know, at best, a solid rotational guy. But every single year, it feels like there's someone the Jets latch or Jet fans latch onto as a later round pick. And it's like, this is going to be our guy and this is going to be the steal of the draft. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sold that the 25-year-old former JUCO player with character issues is going to be that guy. Maybe. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he's tremendous. That'd be a steal if you get an absolute stud pass rusher in the 4th round. But I think for where he went, number one, I think he was a lot lower on a lot of people's boards. Connor Rogers, who's someone who I respect a lot in the draft industry, had hhim ranked like, I think it was 100 players lower than where he actually went. So like a 6th or 7th rounder. I'm not sold on Michael Clemons. Again, he's extremely frightening. He's intense. And that aspect, similar to Quincy Williams, makes him easy to root for. But I'm not sold. I think this is going to be like a Hasman Nasruddin who, hand up, I was a little more excited. I was excited for him, and I thought he was someone who had a chance to be really good. Parry Nickerson or, oh my God, what the hell was his name? Bless Austin. More along those lines than finding like the next great pass rusher. I don't see it. And there's a lot of Jet fans who really, really love the guy and think he's going to be phenomenal. So we'll see. And I hope all these guys shut me up and prove me wrong this year. I don't want guys to be bad, but if I had to go through and pick out some overrated guys, these would be my 5. So let me know who you think who on the Jets is overrated. Drop it in the comments below. Drop it on social media. Please make sure to subscribe, give a thumbs up, rating, review. You guys know the drill. Thank you so much. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll talk to you next time.